JT, go ahead.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, guys. Kelley, this one's for you. It's one we've discussed a few times already this year about the mentality piece of it and what Vlatko has said to you. And how do you and how have you these last few days, sort of tried to teach this new era of players what that mentality and all the intangible stuff is? How do you teach that?
I think it comes down to understanding like what you're about to get into, and I think that this group does understand that. And then I think it's just the little things, the details. Like you talked about, the intangibles. Mentality is like an intangible, and but if you have the preparation, if you've honed in on the details, I feel like the mentality can be there and is there much easier because you're prepared and you're ready for anything.
Jeff Carlo here with ESPN. My question is for both of you. How much downtime do you have, at least since you've been in New Zealand? I mean, is there any downtime? And if so, what do you do to kind of pass the time?
I'm curious what your answer is going to be if we have downtime.
I was going to say not much. It's very interesting that even your downtime and your personal time is still tied to performance. So, and that's something that we deal with as athletes all the time, but it's seriously heightened, obviously, at this time period. So, it's funny, even when you're like, I need a rest or a mental break, it's still in order to bring your best self on the field. And so how do you reset that? But honestly, yeah, a lot of time meetings, some are scheduled all with the team, some are small groups, some are individual. Then a lot of time doing recovery, treatment, a lot of meals, eating. And so not a ton, but I think that's what makes this team very special is we have a lot of personalities who make doing things over and over again fun, joking about serious things or the small details or the mundane and making it a good time. So not a ton of downtime, but that's what we signed up for and we're all on board. We know what we were getting into and
enough to get some cups of coffee out and about. But besides that, it's basically been all focused on the tournament.
David Mark from the ABC in Australia. I'd like to ask you both a question too, and it's about belief. You're about to go into a competition, and Kelley in particular, you've won 2 World Cups before. You're ridiculously overwhelming favourites for your first game and favourites to win the tournament. I wonder if you could just talk about what sort of confidence or belief, if that's a better word, you take into this competition about how the US national women's team is going to perform.
Yeah, I think the word belief is a great word to bring up to talk about this group and this team. I think that it's a word that has defined this team from not just right now, but years and years past. And it's something that's been passed down through generations. And it's something that we've held strong to and I think has allowed us to be as successful as we have been. And I think it's gotten us through those moments when I think a lot of people would have backed down or started to doubt or question things. I think that belief is extremely powerful and I've seen it be that way with this group. So I think that's something that we've already talked about with this team, how important belief is. And there's 1 second left on the clock. Like, we believe that that's enough time to make a difference and to do what we need to do to win a game.
I don't have anything to add. I think you explained that really well.
That was a good answer. And I've heard of many answers. Go ahead, Steve.
Kelley, Steve Goff from the Washington Post. Hoping you can embarrass Andi a little bit and tell her
I cannot wait. What's the question?
what she has brought to this team over the last couple of years and what her role is heading into this first major tournament. I figured you'd be good at this.
I don't know about embarrass, maybe a little bit, but no, I mean, I feel like the first time I got to play with you was like years ago, right? And I remember her coming onto this team and being so impressed by her, being so young. Like, were you still at Stanford at the time coming? Yeah. And obviously being proud that she was, a Stanford Cardinal, but she just brings a sense of like stability to the midfield. She's very communicative. She's always trying to like sort the game out, like give communication, organize, that sort of thing. She's also fantastic on the ball, can spray it any way she needs to. And, you know, in the sixth position, it's something that you need to have somebody who you can look to like make something happen, to depend on. And she's like a very consistent, dependable player. And I mean, I've seen her score goals from like 35 yards out, which is also incredible. I just feel like she has a bag of tools that are perfect for what we need out of that position. So I like I said, I remember when she first came on this team and being like, this is going to be a really special player for the national team. So I'm really excited that she's at her first World Cup, that I get to be here with her and I get to watch her shine through this whole tournament. I am. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Hi, Kalika Mehta from DW. Kelley, this is a question for you. Obviously, it's your fourth World Cup that you're at. At that opening ceremony on Saturday, I guess was it something that you've maybe never experienced before, like the specialness of that event and the meaning behind it? And also, a lot of the New Zealand players have kind of said that, you know, they never expected to have a World Cup here, to be able to share their culture with players from across the world. So yeah, just a few words on really what that ceremony meant and the fact that we've had a World Cup in this part of the world.
Yeah, I think I think it's incredible. I'm trying to think back. I don't feel like we've ever had a cultural welcome like that in any of the places that we've had a World Cup before. And I know how special it is for the New Zealand players, for the Australian players. I think for the people of New Zealand and Australia, I'm really close with Ali Riley. Like, she has so much pride in the fact that this tournament is getting played in New Zealand, and you know, the people of New Zealand will get to experience this game up close and personal and on the level that the World Cup is. The ceremony it was Saturday. I do not even know what day it is right now, actually, of the week. It's just the 17th, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, 18th, see? But no, it was really, really cool. Like, something I've never experienced before. The haka, extremely intimidating, like just something, yeah, that was really unique to experience.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry, wait for the mic.
Hey guys, Matt Cannon from Marker. I'm sure you've both seen Kristen Press's post on Instagram and the news about her knee injury and the fact she has to have a fourth operation. I don't know if you guys or any of the other members of the squad have had the chance to talk to her, and how important is it for you to win for her and to improve her morale? Thank you.
Having gone through an ACL tear and recovery, you know, that in itself is hard enough. And luckily, my return was smooth in the grand scheme of things. So when I read that post yesterday, I think it was, you know, my heart aches for her. But I think anytime that you're injured, the uncertainty of it all, like, it's hard enough when they say this is your timeline. And it's much harder, and Kelley can speak to this as well, just with any injury that you've had, it's so much harder when you think it's going to be a certain amount of time. And there are, you know, obstacles that change that. And so I'm crushed for her, and her ability to continue to hold out hope for herself was so admirable. And she's been such an important part of this team on and off the field for years. And I think Kelley talked about legacy and things that are passed down from generation to generation. And I think Press is a huge part of that. So I think for her and other players who are out with injury or who have been here before, will be here in the future, I think we all feel that heart to win. We know that, yes, it's the 23 of us here who are going to get it done, but also we know that there's so many more people who have prepared us in this cycle, in the past and in the future. So I think, yes, we love Press, and we wish her a full recovery, and we miss her and we love her.
Emily Olson, The Athletic. A question kind of for both of you. There's a lot of mixed experience in this camp. So I'm going to ask you each to talk sort of about the other. So Kelley, for you, what is the benefit and the advantage of having seeing someone get their first World Cup under the belt, and then reverse? Andi, what are the advice and the kind of benefit of having someone in their fourth?
I feel like when it comes to like you want to have this broad range of experience of the players in a roster at a World Cup. You want to have some experienced players. You want to have some players that are coming in for the first time. And I think that I'm trying to think back on like my first World Cup and how that felt and what I brought. And I think that Andi is bringing something very different than I was bringing as a player in my first World Cup. So I don't really think it's necessarily like how many World Cups you've been in. Like, to me, she's going to be so impactful on the field and is going to, just change games for this team. And it doesn't matter if it's her first or her fourth. Like, that's just the player that she is. So, yeah, I don't know. And maybe the first makes it like, I don't know if it makes it scarier or if it makes it less scary. But I think that's an answer.
Use no media background. Ask questions. That's good.
Yeah. So I'll toss it to you, Andi.
Sorry, I'm thrown by you tossing it to me because I was focused on this. I think the veterans have been so incredible at telling us what we're getting into. I think you hear stories, through the years, and you experience camps in themselves for the first time. And you're like, well, how can anything get crazier than this environment right here? And it just continues to do so. So I think that the veterans on this team have just explained, like, given examples of craziness in the past, or just been like, it's going to get crazier, and it just acknowledging that and reiterating to lean on them if there's something that we're struggling with, which I think is such an incredible thing to do. Like, all the veterans, they want to perform their best, but they're also still looking out for us newbies, I guess. And so I think, yeah, it's been incredible. And I think it gives the whole team a sense of confidence, because it's interesting for me because this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, but then there's someone sitting next to me who's done it how many times? So it's like balancing that. And you asked me if it was scary or exciting, kind of. Was that your question?
Yeah, I like think back to my first one, and I feel like I'm less scared now than I used to be, but I don't know in terms of like, if I think for me, there are like moments where you're like stressed, sure. I'm just trying to think about even this experience right now. Like, I haven't really done a press conference this size before, this many cameras. And I'm just thinking like, wow, this is a new experience, kind of beginner's mind mentality. And like, how can I face this opportunity and use it to get better and be my best? And I'm just going to bring that every single day. I think if we get caught up too much in that this is, World Cup, or you can't get too far ahead of yourself. So I'm just trying to like wake up every day. What's in front of me? How can I bring my best? And hopefully that will spread to the team, make us do well.
I told you these two would raise the level of discourse in this room. All right, last one before we break it down. Go ahead.
Hi, Amy Pickering, Stats Perform. Yesterday, I asked a couple of your teammates about the impact of Megan Rapinoe. Kelley, you've obviously been to several major tournaments with her. So can I just ask you both about how important she is to the team, and also how you're feeling about this being her last major tournament?
It's hard to put into words, honestly. I know that the world sees the Megan Rapinoe that the world sees, but we get to see her up close and personal. And like, obviously, the Pinot that the world sees is an incredible person and human. And that is her also up close and personal. Like, she brings a sense of humor and lightness, but intensity and empathy and just, she's one of a kind. Like, she's just, there's never been one like her. There's probably never going to be one close to her. So it's sad to think about this being her last, but she's done such incredible things for this team and for the world. So to be able to see the up close and personal Pinot, and be close to that has been really special. And I hope that we all send her out on a high.
I don't think I've really, obviously she's announced that this will be her last, but I kind of, like Kelley said, didn't really think about the team without her. And I just, even as she announced it, like, she did it with such grace and humor and joy and light. And yeah, so it's almost just like, it's this huge piece of news, but for us, it's just another day. So I think we're trying to just soak up as much Pinot as we can. And I think reiterating what Kelley said is she brings all these things to the world, no joke, and how she's still able to connect with individuals and bring so much like warmth and comfort, which is kind of crazy for someone who's such a big personality or really out there. She has this like range about her that's just incredible. And I obviously, like, on the field, there's no one like her either. She just brings this different element. And yeah, not going to think about her being gone.
Yeah, like, I don't really, don't want to, yeah, don't.
We're just going to think about her being here, and we're glad that she's with us.